I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Monday, August the 22nd, brought to you in part by Macrocin by Bimeda. Proven efficacy at an affordable upfront price. Without the BS, end of story. Go to macrocin.com for more information. Also, Joplin Regional Stockyards going to have another just moderate run for them, about 4,500 head, and we've just sold so many cattle. There's not a lot of cattle moving right now, but 4,500 head, they'll be going by 7 o'clock or so there at Joplin Regional Stockyards. If you've got some replacement cattle to sell or you're in the market for some, next bred cow and bull special will be at Joplin on September the 14th. They always have those on Wednesday afternoon about 4:30 in the afternoon. So check out Joplin Regional Stockyards for all your cattle marketing needs. Increased placements were lightweight. Okay, we talked about that. I had you guys prepared for your cattle on feed report and most importantly your placements last week that come on. It was just like we thought they were going to be. Exactly. Which you know, it was slightly larger than a year ago, even though a year ago we were moving cattle in the northern plains because of drought conditions up there. It was nothing like the lines at the sale barns in central Texas and outlying areas there. Just so many cattle moving, and it was just like I said, just about like what we thought it was. But the information is glaringly supportive for the market to continue staying like it is, because our heavier weight placements were lighter. So even though the placements were slightly larger than what the analysts had predicted, just like we thought, they were all lightweight. So your placement numbers, and I'll give you the entire cattle on feed report. Your August 1st inventories come out to be 101.3 compared to the average guess of 100.8. And that's just where they missed the placements. Placement figures come out to be 101.8 compared to your average of analyst guess, which was 98.9, and you think, man, that is bearish. I warned you guys about that. I didn't think that the analysts would take enough into account how many cattle were moving in the southwest due to the extreme drought, and they didn't. And I just can't understand why they don't. I mean, I understand, and we even talked about how they plug in the numbers for the models that they've been using for years. We have no market reporting in the sale barns in central Texas, so they didn't have those receipts to put in, so they had no way of finding those. But gosh, just look around, guys. Look up from your computer monitors once in a while. You know, look out the window when you're driving around. I mean, I realize in Chicago and places like that, you're not going to be able to tell by looking out or looking from the L train there. But you know, just pay attention to what's going on. It was so easily seen. But the highest guess from all your analysts put together, the average of the analyst guess was 101.3. It was 0.5% smaller than what it come out to be, and that was the extreme high guess. The low guess was 96. But you know, they're getting pretty predictable on how they look at stuff. We know how they're going to miss it. Marketing's come out even lighter than what had been predicted at 96.1, with the average analyst guess at 96.6. So on the complexion of that, you may think, well, that's a bearish cattle on feed report. Uh-oh, hang on, we're going to go down. But no, it's been well advertised that we knew the placements were going to be lightweight, and the report itself showed that. If you went in there and looked at the weights that were placed and the increases, you saw it was all on lighter weights, even under 600 pounds. So light calves in there. I mean, they count everything that's on feed, but it was light calves. We saw our placement numbers in Texas. The percentage was 107. Well, you would have figured that it would be 107. It would be that heavy because that's where the worst of the drought was. Kansas and Nebraska were 102. Iowa was the same at 100. Oklahoma, although they have fewer feedlots there, their placement number was 126. So almost a fourth more cattle being placed in the month of July in Oklahoma than a year ago. But you know, it's just but you know, that was total numbers. And then under 600 pounds, like in Texas, it was 119% under 600 pounds compared to a year ago, and Kansas was 118. And then, like I said, your heavier weight cattle were lighter placed. And I think everybody saw that. And I was actually kind of impressed with the USDA NASH report that they did recognize those cattle that were placed at lighter weights and where they were placed and things like that. And I don't know enough about their models and where they get the numbers, but you know, it has to be some of you know, polling you know, some of your big feed yards. But it was just exactly like we had talked how it was going to be. I think it's been well publicized. I think this market, especially your calf market, is a runaway train right now. I don't think you can stop it. I don't think you can interrupt the board enough to make it back up. I think your fat cattle market is going to continue to drive. So likely your board will open a pinch lower here on Monday morning, and then you know, by the time we get to noontime before the close, I think it'll come back and be higher, because everybody just kind of knew what was going on. So we'll see if that works. Everything else I've looked at and predicted as far as this cattle on feed report has been pretty much notch on, but it doesn't take a brain scientist to figure that out. You just kind of pay attention to what's going on around. But still down here in the southeast, I was planning on being home on Sunday to get back from my trip down to Mississippi. But airline travel right now sucks. They don't even try to get you where you're supposed to be anytime close to time, and then they just cancel flights just willy-nilly, don't think anything about it. Every flight canceled going into Amarillo on Sunday evening. I thought maybe they were having a hurricane in Amarillo, but you know, I called my kids and they said no, it's just kind of overcast and been kind of raining all weekend, which have been getting some good moisture in the panhandle. That is going to bring about, and not just the panhandle, I'm talking about you know, going up into the edge of southeast Colorado, the Oklahoma panhandle, southwest Kansas, western Oklahoma. And what do they do in those places about this time of year? They sow wheat, hard red winter wheat. You know, they've got every wheat field over there fluffed up and ready for a little bit more moisture. Now they are going to be sowing wheat like crazy, guys. It's going to have a really good start, and might have a chance at some winter grazing this year, fall grazing too. But we didn't have that last year. You remember, we didn't get anything like that. So with the addition of winter wheat grazing and lots of it, the calf deal is going to get even wilder than it is already. So you know, there's not going to be any relief for this calf market. You know, we saw some milestones get set late last week. I'm going to talk about them at the end of the report when we get to the feeder cattle markets. But hoping to get back home here early in the week. I had such a great time late last week in Mississippi. Did several talks at some production meetings there. Met a lot of nice producers, a lot of feeder flash gang members in Mississippi, and just enjoyed my time there. Over the weekend, I got to go with some cattle guys from Mississippi down to Orange Beach. They invited me to go down there with them, and man, we had a good time, you know, going on the boat around there and going to the Floribama. If you guys have been there and know what that's all about, that was an experience that I'll never forget. But I want to give a big thank you to my friends Sam Blakeney, Eric Weaver, and Blake Rogers. So I enjoyed spending the weekend with those guys, and we had a big time, and I'm still kind of suffering from it. Let's talk about your board for last week. Live cattle futures for August. I know that's not the most active one, but I like to talk about the most current one. Monday was down 47, Tuesday was up 155, Wednesday was up 45 cents, Thursday down 47, Friday up 32, with August live cattle ending the week at 141.60. That was up $1.38 for the week. October ended the week at 145 1/4. That's a big traded month there. Not as big as December, but it's big traded there at 145 and a quarter. We've already surpassed that on our weighted average just this last week, but that was up 75 cents compared to the end of last week. August feeder cattle contract, Monday was up 30 cents, Tuesday up $1.60, Wednesday up 172, Thursday took the 172 back, Friday nothing, just down 2 cents, but August feeder cattle ended the week at 181.50, almost right at par with your real-time index, which is up to date. CME cash feeder cattle index is running behind there a day or two, but it'll catch up here. But that 181.50 to end August feeder cattle contract last week was up $1.88 for the week. September ended at 184.75. That was up $1.38. And you look out to October feeder cattle, 186.77, and I think those are mild. I think guys should be buying those contracts going long because I think they've got a lot of room to grow. You remember back in 14, $2 didn't stop them for the least bit, and I think that's kind of where we're going, guys. Talk about your fat cattle trade up through Thursday of last week, 79,500 head. There was a few more traded on Friday during reporting hours. Could have been a few more traded after the cattle on feed report, and on Friday afternoon we'll see whenever we wrap that up here on our next visit. But live sales of steers and heifers last week ranged from 138 to 151. That was steady to $2 higher, but your weighted average was about $2.50 higher than the same period last week at 146.76. Dress sales from 226 to 237. That was about $4 higher with a weighted average on your dress steers at 234.03. Friday's late sales there, and this would have been before the cattle on feed report, so that shouldn't affect your fat cattle trade, but it does. I mean, just the bullishness or bearishness of anything in cattle affects your trade. But Iowa had confirmed sales on 1,300 head on Friday, about 34,300 for the week, which is a good movement for them. Friday's live sales 148 to 150, dress sales at 239. Nebraska about 400 head confirmed is all on Friday, with for the week sales 25,500. That's a good movement for them too. There was lighter movement in the southern plains, but no live sales in Nebraska confirmed on Friday. Dress sales at 234. Kansas about 200 head confirmed, but they were off-market cattle. 12,200 head for them for the week. That's about 5,000 short of normal. Texas only 9,300 head. No sales on Friday, and that's not robust for them, according to Dr. Kuntz. Let's talk about your box beef cutout values last week. Choice cuts, the weighted average on all of last week's sales, 264.58. That was up 44 cents from the weighted average from the previous week. Your late Friday sales were a pinch lower than that weighted average, so not doing a whole lot there. Select sales, your weighted average of all of last week was 238.43. That was actually up 29 cents from the weighted average from the previous week. And your late week sales there were some lower, about a $0.50 lower than that. So your packers are really taking it now. They're getting less money for their product and having to pay more for the cattle. Boo hoo hoo. Choice select spread on your weighted average for last week, $26.15, with the load count slightly higher than usual at 606 loads of cuts, grinds, and trimmings. Talk about your slaughter, 661,000 last week, which is a big week. That was compared to 647 last week and 666 same week a year ago. But pretty good movement there on your slaughter. We'll talk about what else is going on. Don't forget about Montgomery Stockyards today, here on Monday. It's their last sale ever at Montgomery Stockyards. They're going to do something else with the land that facility sits on. They've been doing it there since the 50s, and now we're going to be not having the Montgomery Stockyards anymore. But we are going to have Montgomery Stockyard board sales. Mr. Jerry Etheridge there My buddy Chuck Bradley and all the crew there, they're going to continue to get those cattle put together and have regular board sales, and they will be on dvauction.com just like they have been all summer here. But check out the board sale, video board sale that they're going to have here today on Monday. Starts at noon Central Time. I think they've got about 38 loads of yearling cattle on there mostly to sell here today at noon. Talk about your feeder cattle market. Your real-time index on DV Auction ended the week at 181.42. That was $3.29 higher than your RTI ended the previous week. So big gains there. Your trends in your sale barns, cash feeders sold $3 to $8 higher, pretty consistent through all your bigger sales. Spring calves selling $5 to $15 higher, and the bulk of those unweaned. I'm not telling you not to wean them. They'll bring a premium to that, but we're just seeing big demand for light calves right now, and we know we're going to have tight numbers of them because we've already sold so many of them, but just selling like hotcakes, guys. Talk about some of your sales around. The first one I want to mention is your Zoetta stick out sale of the day for late last week. It was Lexington Livestock Market in Lexington, Nebraska. Their comparison there from 2 weeks ago was $4 to $8 higher on Friday there. They had 2,700 head on offer and had a milestone sale. I normally like to just quote load lots or bigger, but it's hard to put light calves together because if they're uneven, you know, they show it more when they're light and have to be sorted up and sexed and things, and by that time you don't get as big a bunches as you do as you're on your backgrounded yearlings, of course. But out of Lexington Livestock Market on Friday, they sold 38 head of 327 pound ball and calves at $3 a pound. We hadn't seen $3 a pound yet on calves weighing over 3, and that's a big mark. I think we will continue to see that, and I think we're going to see more milestones as we go forward on these calves as we move further through the end of summer and into the beginning of fall. But talk about some individual quotes around Bluegrass Stockyards. Richmond, Kentucky on Friday sold 60 head of 924 pound steers at $181.95. Put wheels under those, guys. How about St. Ange Livestock? My buddy Justin Tupper out there in St. Ange, South Dakota, sold 50 head of 1,054 pound near beer steers there on Friday at $177.25. Oh my gosh. But the best quote that I saw anywhere late last week, your Macrocin no BS top quote for the day, indeed come out of Lexington Livestock Market, Lexington, Nebraska. It was 76 steers, weighed 828 at $190. And that's your feeder flash for Monday.